Church and Facebook.com/SPR Live FM. Now, let's join Pastor Carl and me, Colanthony Humphrey. Good afternoon, everyone. There we go. I was trying to figure out where my headset at. Good afternoon, everyone. We're live today on SPR Live FM. And how was your week?
Good. It's good. In fact, it was my wife's birthday yesterday.
Oh, really? So you had a big celebration going on yesterday.
Had a good little time there. Yep, it's good. Good. And yourself?
I'm doing well. I can't complain.
Yeah, but we have a treat today.
Yeah, we do, actually. We do. And it's going to be quite interesting because the way how it's all set up. I have actually this theme song that you're hearing right now was done by him.
Yeah, that was. I just love it. I love that song.
Right.
I just love it. But just before we do that,
right,
we want to, again, thanks for tuning in to Rebuilding the Black Family today. We do have a treat for you today. But before we do that, we've been talking about the importance of fathers in the life of their children. And last week we talked about every child deserves a loving father, and we also qualified what we mean by that statement. And so probably, shortly thereafter, we're going to be talking a little bit about the factors that a father is to consider in relating to the mother of his child. That was something,
right,
you were eager to get into, but we will. But today we have a special guest online with us, and we're just going to interview him. We're really thrilled. That's his picture back there, right?
Right.
So, Clem, you want to go ahead and...
Well, when I asked him for a bio, he said, I really don't have one. I said, I should know your bio, by the way. He was born over 30 years ago. Well, 30 years ago. 30-some years ago. And, grew up to be a very upstanding young man, one that I come to love and respect very greatly. He has a good head on his shoulder. In his decision making is one that is exemplary, right? He studied from me, and I'm going to say this, but he's probably going to laugh right now. He studied from me in terms of when it comes to music. He watched me play, he watched me do all the stuff, and then one day at about 6 years old, he came to me and he says, I want to play the drums. I'm like, can you play? He said, yes, I can. He never said, I'll try. He said, yes, I can. And he went to the drum at 6 years old and was playing the drums for church, right? And later on, as he went to college and university and all that kind of stuff and did what he had to do, he finally decided that he wanted to venture off into the thing that he loves the most, which is music. So he's also a musician. He's also a producer. He's also a manager. He also writes his own music. And I could even say he's even into the movies, because once you're on TV and your face is shown in the movie house, you're in the movies. In the movies. And so let me introduce to you my son, Colanthony Humphrey. Hello, sir. How you doing?
Hey.
Great to have you, Colanthony. Great to have you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always fun talking to my dad. Anyway, so. This is going to be fun. Good.
Well, here's the thing. You're going to be talking more to Pastor Carl today. He's going to ask all the hard questions. I decided I'm going to step out of this and let him
he's right here. But we have it so that he can interrupt me whenever. But again, Colanthony, thank you very much for agreeing to do this interview and taking the time out of your busy schedule. We really appreciate it. Now,
hey, no problem.
We know about that you're a musician, a music manager, producer, recently married. We're going to get into that part a bit later. But tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing right now.
Okay. I started playing drums real young. Watching dad, lead choirs and stuff like that. Playing piano, singing in churches all over, not only Toronto, but the States as well. And I never ever wanted to do anything else. I learned how to produce from Dad when I was around age 14, 15. He had this Atari computer and a notator, and then from there he taught me how to produce using it, make beats and stuff, and then from there, like, I just ran with it. Even to the point where in grade 10 it was actually ruining my grades. But, you know, like, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to college for something that wasn't music.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I basically got into corporate. I knew right away that I wasn't going to like it more than music. And then as I was working in corporate, the band that I play in a punk rock band.
OMG.
We were touring all over Canada, and we were touring all over Europe. And we were getting called here and there, and, you know, we were doing a whole lot. To the point where I knew that it was time to leave my job.
Gotcha.
And I left my job to pursue a career in music. Originally with the band, but things were popping off for my little brother, Colanthony II, as well. And he asked me to manage him, which I was wary about at first, but, you know, eventually it proved to be valuable. And I left my job and I went full throttle. It's been a year and a half since. And since then I've been on about maybe 4 tours. I've recorded several albums, like playing drums for people, managing my brother, producing other people, and like it's been really, really good. I've toured all over the States. I've toured Europe. I've toured all over Canada. Like I've seen a lot. I've seen more in the last year and a half than I've seen.
Wow.
You know,
That's wonderful.
in 6 years in corporate.
So again, a musician, a manager, a music producer. Congratulations. Now,
Thank you.
if you don't mind, you might repeat yourself, but what would you say inspired you, or who inspired you to pursue a career in music?
I was inspired to do music by my dad.
Okay, got you.
Just to do music. There was nothing better than that. I've never found anything that was better than music. I have my dad to thank for introducing me to that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a company name or a production name, or like people at production studios? So, do you have a particular company name? I'm just asking.
Well, what's it called? I operate out of my own name. Like when I bill people under my name, Colanthony Humphrey. But everybody in the industry calls me Cola.
Cola, yeah. I was you got to jump on me because I saw that name online. So I was gonna show that I know a little bit, but you got to jump on me. It's all right. So Cola, if you listening, that's your name. Okay, Cola.
Yeah,
Colanthony.
Yeah. And it's funny. A friend of mine, he started calling me that in high school, and then everybody started calling me that in high school.
Wow.
To the point where now my mom doesn't even call me Colanthony unless she's mad at me. So,
she calls you Cola too, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Now let me ask you this, if you don't mind.
You know the thing is though, I refuse to call them by their short name.
I like that. Yeah, I'm like that.
Yeah, and they know that too. I says there's a purpose of your name. Your name meant something when I gave you a name. For matter of fact, his name Colanthony is the mixture of my name and his mom's name.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Colleen is the mom's first name, middle name. Anthony is my second name.
Oh, I like that.
So it's Colanthony,
Gotcha.
and I said it means prince, leadership, ruler, take charge of stuff, right? So why am I shorten you to Cola? Like a Cola, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna call you Colanthony, and they know that too.
He likes it.
Even though he likes it. Even Claremont too, his brother.
Yeah.
They call me Monty for short. Now, from time to time, I hear them call him Lil Mont.
No.
I'm like, what? Your name is Claremont. And I call all of them by their full name. Clarendine, his sister, they shorten it, they call it Claire. I said straight up Clarendine. I call them by their full names because that's your given name. Because every time I call your name, I reinforce what it meant.
Excellent.
That's how I
like it. And I've said this, how Claremont has been, and you know this, Colanthony, he's communicated such a lot of confidence in his children. He just unashamedly talks about, just his love for his children on the air. And that's one of the things I really respect and love about him. Now, another question, if you don't mind, Colanthony, is there a major accomplishment that you're particularly proud of?
Me? Mm-hmm. Like as of recent, or just like in life?
Just generally in life. Could be more recent. Could be a couple of. Could be when you're in because you're only 30, so it could have been something maybe in your teenage years or something more recently.
Right. Well, recently, I'm really enjoying being a husband, to be honest with you.
Okay, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, luckily I have a few things then. But I like the fact that I've been able to pay my bills doing my dream, which is something that I realize that still, at this point in life, a lot of people cannot do. So I would say that's probably one of the more recent things as well.
Gotcha. Now, let me say this, if you don't mind, because I'm going to get to some of the marriage things. But I wanted to ask this, because it just wasn't in my notes. What kind of, what's your inspiration, when you produce, when you, I guess you're a songwriter too. Do you write songs?
Yes, I do.
You do. So do you, what's your inspiration, when you sing? Is there a certain chord that you seek to strike with your listeners? Is there a certain message you like to communicate? Because, different singers sing for different reasons. So what's yours? What are you aiming to accomplish when you sing or produce?
Well, to be honest, just literally, just to be honest, I find that that's something that is not found not only in music today, but it's not to say that it's not found in music today, but it's definitely harder to find honest music today. I feel like nobody's being real with themselves. I feel like I feel like everybody's putting up a front. I feel like everybody's trying to be something that they're not, and that's their own journey. I've never aimed to be like that. I found that especially after leaving my job, right, and realizing that I was for a long time not being honest with myself, that I was working this job and pretending like this is the person that I wanted to become. It was never that. You know what I'm saying? And I would say right now, in terms of writing, that's my biggest inspiration. So I just aim to be honest. The subjects will always vary, but so that's the main thing right now.
And I like that. So being honest with yourself. So would you say, Colanthony, what are some of the themes you seek to address or put forth in your music?
Well, that will wait until I release my album. Right now, it's everything is hidden right now. I want to reveal that when I reveal the music.
Okay, gotcha. So is there a deadline that you're looking at, or some date that you've set where your album will be produced or launched?
Well, the album is already in production. The completion date, I'm looking to complete the writing by mid this month, and then I'm going to start releasing songs by the summer.
Okay, good. Okay, congratulations.
Yeah.
Go.
If I can ask you this quick question, Colanthony.
For sure.
After leaving your job, your full-time job, and knowing that you're going to go into music sometimes could be very sketchy. It could be up one day, down another day, sometimes for a long stretch, nothing is happening. At any point in time, did you had any form of fears or concerns, especially just getting married? Because I remember you saying, I think 6 months, I heard in an interview saying, I think 6 months after you left your job, or a few months after you left your job, you proposed to your wife, and knowing that you were getting married.
No, it was the same week.
Oh, the same week after I left my job, I proposed to her. And then not only that, but after that, what had happened was after I had left my job, I had a publishing deal that was on the table for Claremont.
the publishing deal that was on the table for me, a record deal that was on the table for the band, and a tour that was on the table for Claremont as well. So all these things were happening. I was like, this is great. And then as soon as I left the job, one by one, they all fell. Every single one of them.
So,
right?
So what was your thoughts then?
Yeah.
What was my thought?
Yeah. How are you thinking? How are you feeling?
When all those things fell apart.
Yeah.
Sure.
When all of them fell through, I remember I went out to see a friend I went with Claremont to see a friend who was doing the show, and it wasn't only a show; it was also a screening of a film that they were making. And I remember sitting down on the ground, like watching this film. It was like these different artsy places where you go and sit down on the ground as opposed to chairs. But anyway. I remember just thinking, like, you know what, I'm going to be all right. I remember that. I remember that. I remember that I was going to be all right. Now, it's not to say that I don't have scary moments. I mean, there's always going to be scary moments. There's always going to be scary moments because you're venturing into the unknown. And anytime you're an entrepreneur or anytime you're a touring and traveling musician, depending on the type of music that the energy that it invites, like you don't know what you may encounter, right? So for an example, pop stars generally have like tons of women thrown at them and their entourage. Hip hop music can invite gang affiliations and you know what I'm saying? Like the thing is that this punk rock invites drugs. I'm stereotyping everything right now, but the reality is that these are all realities for every single type of music. So like once again, you're venturing into the unknown, and venturing into the unknown, or being a musician and not getting paid for a while, like that's scary. Like you know what I'm saying? Especially in this industry. Sorry, I don't want to over talk.
That's good.
But
You sound like a daddy for a second, but that's all right.
Okay, cool. Cut me off if I'm taking too long.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, but it's just like one thing that's involved in this industry, if you're not like in the studio or if you're not like on the road, there's a lot of waiting, right? Whether it's waiting like to have your lawyer read over contracts, or it's like waiting to get a gig that's going to take you on the road, or like there's tons of waiting. And during that time, you have to be able to, you know what I mean, use that time like valuably. Otherwise, like it's easy to get scared. Where's my next paycheck coming from? Or but the thing is like if you stay busy and you use your time valuably, like you'll be all right.
Here's my question to you, though.
All right.
Here's my question to you. Did you, at any point in time, from the moment you quit your job, same week engaged, and months afterwards things start falling apart, did you ever doubt your decision that you made?
Of course. Of course. I think that's part of it. That's part of what's going to make you stronger ultimately. Like, the thing is to be able to fight that. Because if you know, like, what the devil is as opposed to just who, right? It's just like, the devil is, like, dirty baggage. Like, doubts, fears, like all those negative things that crawl into your mind, that's the devil at work. And it's just like, are you going to let him win? Or are you going to let God win?
So, so what you did then, you did make that quality decision. That's what I'm hearing behind your question, was that you made that decision, you know what, I'm going to pursue a career in music. Right? That's what was behind that question, right? And it seems like there was such a strong resolve that in spite of all the things you've faced, and no one would know but you, what you've faced and what you've had to go through, that resolve has kept you, I guess, since the time that you've moved in this direction, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, like, having a very supportive wife has also helped that, and still helps that.
Excellent.
Like, she's believed in me from when she first met me.
That's excellent. Now, go ahead.
She believed in me from when she first met me, because she first met me as a musician. Like, we met each other as like both working in the nonprofit community as well as doing music.
Gotcha.
Right. So from that time, she knew who I was. She knew what I was doing, and she loved it. And like till this day, she still supports me 100%.
Now, again, congratulations, and I just want to really congratulate you on your passion, but also your drive and willingness to pursue your dream. Because I'm big on that. It's really people pursuing their dream, and so oftentimes people aren't willing. There's a price to pay for that, and you sound like one who has and continues to pay the price for that. But I just love when people, get a hold of their dream and refuse to be talked out of it and really pursue it. But I want to make a turn now, because you've alluded to it a couple of times, that you are married. So I've got a few questions, if you don't mind me asking. It won't be too invasive, but just want to ask you a few questions, because this is rebuilding the black family, and so that's a big part of this. Now, why did you, Colanthony, why did you decide to be married?
That's a bit of a...
That's a good question, huh?
That's a great question. I got to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever been asked that.
I thought I gave you the question.
I decided to be married.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. What?
No, I'm sorry. We were talking. Please forgive us for interrupting you. Go ahead, please.
I decided to be married because I knew that if I'm going to be with the person that I believe that I'm going to be with for the rest of my life, like I'm definitely going to make that as official as I possibly can.
Gotcha.
Marriage is still something that means a lot to me. Doctrines mean a lot to me, and this is one of the most sacred of those.
Now let me ask you. Okay. Now let me just interrupt you then, if you don't mind me asking. What was it then about your wife? What was it about her? Is it Merib? Merib? Is that her name?
Yeah. No, you said it correctly the first time.
Merib. Now, what was it about your wife that caused you to choose her? Marriage is a choice, and for you to make that proposal to her, what stood out about her? Why did you offer that, that offer of marriage to her, as opposed to, another billion women out there?
Right.
Why her?
There was something about her. She, more so than when I've ever met, she was very sure of herself. Like, does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
She knew who she was.
Well, that's a good one. Write it down. That's a good one. Go ahead, man. That's a good one.
She knew who she was. And it's not to say that you don't discover new things about yourself.
Of course.
All of us do. But out of everybody that I've ever dated before this, she was very sure of herself.
Gotcha.
She knew who she was. She knew where she was going, and I was immediately attracted to that.
Excellent.
And you know what? It really hasn't changed.
That's beautiful.
She grows every day, but she's the same. She has the same essence about her as when I first met her.
Excellent.
And not only that, but she's extremely logical. Very, very logical thinker. She's a go-getter. She's one thing that we are both, I would say, very, very similar at is that we want, wherever we are, whatever we're doing, we want to be good at whatever that is.
That's good.
We want to be good. We want to be great.
Excellent.
And she still carries that essence, and we carry that essence together.
Now, Mr. Humphrey, were there any questions you asked yourself prior to making the decision to get married? When you as far as preparation, what questions?
Yeah. Well, I think the first was, will I be able to be a great husband to her?
Oh,
Not good, great. Because it's enough, it's like a lot of people are good, but I wanted to be the best to her, as I felt like she was to me. So I feel like she deserves the best. So that was the first question I asked myself. And the second was, will I be able to deal with, because I'm in entertainment, right? And it was like, will I be able to deal with the pressures of the entertainment industry, knowing what I'm around? Like, and the answer was yes.
Okay.
Like, of course I'm going to be able to deal with it, because I wouldn't have gotten into it if I couldn't. And then the third was, will she be able to deal with the pressures of the entertainment industry? Being that she knows that where I'm at, like she'll always know where I'm at, no matter what. But it's just like, will she be able to deal with the fact that, not necessarily the possibility of me getting out of hand, but more so the possibility of other people trying to get out of hand with me.
Gotcha.
Will she be able to deal with that?
Gotcha. So,
and will she have faith in me to be able to deal with that?
so there's that area of counting the cost then.
Yeah.
You would say that you and that's what that sounds like. Even some of those very specific questions you asked yourself, asked of yourself primarily, but of the situation, it seems like you really counted the cost. That's wonderful. Now another question.
Yeah.
What does it mean? Oh, did you want to?
Yeah, I was just going to add, because you're asking the question about Miriam. My question to you, Colanthony, is when you first saw her, did you know that she was going to be your wife?
Yeah, actually. And that's the weirdest thing to me. It's the weirdest thing to me because I personally don't believe that, all right, allow me to correct myself. It wasn't the first time I saw her, but the first time I encountered her, I knew that I wanted her to be my wife. I knew that. And I don't
Conversation we had.
generally subscribe to that belief that, the person's going to kind of just float into your life and blah, 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 blah. I don't subscribe to that. But it just happened that way. And mind you, I didn't get with her when I first met her. We actually became good friends for a long time. For a long time. She threw me in the friend zone.
You got a major promotion, huh? You got a major promotion.
Major promotion. I'm the CEO now.
I like that. Now, Colanthony, what does it mean? You might repeat yourself, but I don't mind. What does it mean then now to be married? To you, what does it mean to be married?
It means becoming one with somebody, to the highest extent. We were actually talking yesterday. We were talking about a situation that had happened around my wedding, or one that wasn't super positive. But, we were talking about, different reactions of things and people that we encounter, and she's just she basically said, you are me, and I'm you, and it's and so when things go down, I'm with you 1,000%. And I said the same thing to her, and it was just that's what marriage means to me.
That's beautiful.
You are one with somebody.
So you've got someone there. And I tell this to men. It's one of the most beautiful things when you're married to someone, and you don't even have the thought that she's not with you. It's not even a thought, and it's kind of hard to explain to someone else. And so the way you just said it was so well said, but just the spirit of what you said is wonderful. Now let me go on, if you don't mind, just a few more minutes. I know you got to go, but how has your life changed since being married? So again, it might be repeating a little bit. Some of these are crossover questions, but just some specific things, if you don't mind. How has your life changed?
How has my life changed? Well, number one, I live with my wife as opposed to living with my mom.
Oh man! Okay, go ahead.
But I will say this: living at home was good training because my mom had gone back to school. and I was left with the bills. And while she was back at school, and it helped me be a man. It helped me to man up. And learn what it is to not only take care of a home, but to take care of a family.
Beautiful.
And so it's kind of like I graduated, almost, right? Like, you know, you leave from doing work in the classroom to home, and then you graduate and you start doing work in the household that you build.
Gotcha.
And that's the household that I'm in.
Gotcha.
Now I celebrate, you know, 2 Easters, 2 Christmases, and, you know, my wife's Orthodox Christian. So they hold their dates usually like about a week or 2 after when everybody else does.
Gotcha.
So, you know, so I'm learning to, like, you know, I'm learning another family now. And I'm learning a new culture, right? Eritrean, which is East African.
Ethiopian, yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
Everything, yeah.
There's people that would argue with you there, but but yeah. So I'm learning her culture. I'm beginning to learn Tigrinya, which is the language they speak there.
Oh, good for
And it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. And but it's exciting, man.
So you're really growing. There's a lot of growth, I hear, you know, that you're undergoing, you know, in a number of areas, you know, spiritually, you know, mentally, psychologically, physically, you know, socially, in all these ways. Now, just a minute. So, if you're just tuned in to Rebuilding the Black Family, we're on the line with Colanthony Humphrey. He's a musician, writer, producer, manager, and he happens to be the son of a proud father of my co-host Colanthony Humphrey. And so again, thank you very much, Colanthony, for being on the line with us. Just a couple more questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Who were the key influences and examples in your life? You know, because I think no one is self-made. You know, no one is really self-made. And so just listening to you, the resolve you have, the focus you have, the willingness to pursue a dream, but also to be married and take responsibility of creating your own home and all that goes with that, and of course your career as a musician. What would you say were the key influences and examples in your life?
Well, my parents are a key influence for sure. Beyond that, beyond my parents, you know, there's always like little remnants of everybody, like of just life in general. Like you know, people who do great things. Right now, I'm really a fan of, or as I've always been, like in terms of music, right? Like, you know, other than my dad, and like, you know, what he obviously did to get me, like, you know, into music in the first place. I really like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They're producers, and they produce, like, they mainly did. They're responsible for the majority of Janet Jackson's catalog.
Gotcha.
And, you know, they've written great songs, and I really like them. Other than that, I can't think of like any one person like right at this moment that I'm like, you know.
But you know, and it doesn't have to be a long list. Normally, it's only a few people that were we call key influences, and you know, that key example in our life that really inspired and helped us. And usually, there were those few people that were always in our life. You know, that constancy of growing up. Of course, there's individuals who might have played a key part in maybe inputting something into our life, into a career, and they might have been very temporary. But I think you've hit the main points. Now, just as we close, now, what do you look forward to in your life with your wife and partner?
First of all, I look forward to like even though this music stuff has already proven to be worthwhile to both of us, I'm looking forward to making it really worthwhile, like to living like a extremely comfortable and privileged life, like through this music for her. Right? I also look forward to being a dad. I'm not like we're like, you know, we know when we want to have kids. It's not yet. So, Dad, you have to wait.
I didn't say anything, son.
That's fine.
He knows what you're thinking. Okay, exactly. Go ahead, Colanthony.
But yeah, I do look forward to being a father soon, like eventually, and I look forward to living once again, a very privileged life. With her, like that's my main thing. So right now I'm working on that.
Okay, and finally, so now, why I got to ask this question: as a young man who is married and is happily married, the way you sound, you exude with a certain thrill over being married. Now, why would you recommend marriage to other young men like yourself?
Well, actually, it's funny. You may have answered part of it without even realizing it. With other young men like myself, as opposed to everybody. Like, because truthfully, I don't recommend it to any man that doesn't know themselves. I don't recommend marriage to any guy that's trying to please or appease someone or something, because it's always going to falter. It's always going to fail if you try to please somebody else, or if you do it for the wrong reasons. I feel like I'm very sure of myself. I would recommend marriage to other men who are sure of themselves, because I feel like when you're sure of yourself, you're definitely going to find someone that's sure of themselves, and it'll only make things better.
That's good.
It'll only make things better. And mentally, it'll make you better. It'll make you stronger. It'll give you something to look forward to at the end of the day. Because knowing yourself and loving yourself will give you the ability to also love someone else and build with somebody else. So
that's good.
But if you don't have it, like, don't force it. Otherwise, you're only gonna really ruin.
Like that.
You're bound to ruin somebody's life if you drag them into uncertainty, if you drag them into, you know what I mean, insecurity, if you drag them into all the negative things that usually bad things stem from.
Fantastic.
Right? Especially bad relationships. You know what I'm saying?
That's really well said. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
We were talking earlier. Last week we had a program, the importance of a dad's love in a child's life. Period.
Hey.
We said
that was earlier. We did that program last week, and we said that earlier at the beginning. Would you say, Colanthony, because I know going all the way back when things had fallen apart between your mom and myself, you were very concerned about whether or not I'm going to be in your life because of your friends not having their dads in their life. Would you say having a dad in your life made you a better man than you are today?
Oh, significantly. Like, significantly. I'm really, really happy that you stayed in our life, obviously. but like, it changes you. One thing that it allows you to do is it gives you a leg up. And that's one thing, when a father is there present, when a father is present in their child's life, and being present means more than just physically being there, obviously. But when it gives you a leg up. It allows you to. You know what it's like? It's like having a cheat sheet.
Okay.
Almost. You know what I mean?
I like that.
It's not cheating. It gives you a leg up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's things that you don't have to figure out by yourself.
That's beautiful.
There's and all the time when you're going through something, what every man needs is a better man.
Oh, I like that.
You need a better man to kind of lead you through what you need to be led through. And, there's been times where I've actually been going through certain things, and he actually may not know this, but I would ask certain questions to get certain answers to know what I should do, even if it was something that I shouldn't be doing. But I would always get a great answer. And it's helped me. It's literally helped me become a better man.
I like that.
So,
man, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Colanthony,
I like that too.
That is so. No, the response was so. I just love the response from your heart, because I hear the sincerity. You're not just answering questions, but you can just feel the sincerity. But also, I appreciate the maturity of your responses. Of course, you're not a kid, but what I'm saying is the maturity of your responses, which showed in a number of fronts that you thought through your life. You've got a passion, a dream you're pursuing. You didn't just fall into marriage, like you didn't just fall into love. But you counted the cost. It's you've embraced your wife, but also what's behind that. There was a certain, again, counting the cost, knowing who you are, having a sense of purpose. You brought her into your life, and she's in your life. I just love it, but also the appreciation that you have, an understanding the part that your dad played in your life, and that goes right in. I was telling you at the beginning that it would fit right in, fits right into what we've been speaking about, which was the importance of fathers in the life of their children. And then last week we talked about every child deserves a loving father. So, do you have anything else before we say goodbye?
One of the things that I wanted to say, really, and this is more me than them, it was a scary moment for me after the marriage fell apart. How am I going to be a good father to them now? Would I be able to be a good father to them? And one of the things that I never withhold from them, and he can testify to this, is that I spoke the truth to them. I also apologized to them. I said to them, and the greatest thing ever, and he probably don't remember this, when my life totally fell apart at age 10, he was 10 years old, I went to him and his sister at the time, his older sister, and I said, listen, this is what happened. This is what Dad did. It's wrong. And I want to apologize to you guys. And he said to me was, Dad, it's okay.
I remember that.
It's okay.
He remembers that.
He remembered it. He says, it's okay. If God can forgive you, so can I. And that was the most powerful thing that was stuck out to me. And I told myself, at that point, I'm like, this little fella just put me on a spot that I have to now prove myself to be a great dad. And how can I be when I've already messed up so badly, right? So it was this struggle of trying to be a great dad. So I said, you know what, the best thing for me to do is just to be totally transparent in front of them, tell them what the truth is, and I've never withheld anything from them in terms of my own falters and flaws. Right? And I said, I normally say, I said it to him too. It says, if you ever reach a stage in your life with your wife and something is going a little bit off, don't talk to a friend. Come sit down and talk to me. I'll tell you how to fix it really quickly, because what started in the beginning should be able to continue. And a lot of the times you don't have a strong, like I didn't have a strong dad in my life. I didn't have a dad was there. He was in the house, but he had no part in my life. Right? So knowing that, I tell myself, there's no way I'm going to let these guys grow to be adults and I don't have a major part. I mean, up until he was about 19, 20, what I loved about all of them actually, but him being a young man, I mean, it's easy for a young man, as we say back home, you're smelling yourself, right? You know, you think you're a big man kind of thing, right? But it doesn't matter what I said. Even if he didn't like it, he would keep his cool, and then he'd come back a little later on in a normal conversation and say, Dad, you know, this is what I was thinking about. And he'll express his views. It gives me a chance to actually stop and listen. So it taught me how not only to tell him what to do, but also to listen to his heart and be able to make the adjustments in sharing information or even correcting him as based on his opinion as opposed to my opinion, what's correct, if it is correct or it's just an opinionated thing, right? So it helped me as well to, in terms of being a father, especially him.
I'm smiling because in hearing the both of you speak, you could just hear the strength of your relationship.
Oh yeah, you got a good relationship.
And you could hear it. You could just feel that.
Oh, yeah.
And I just love that. But there's something you also said when you just said regarding Colanthony, that when you spoke the truth. I think that's such a big key.
Yeah.
But one that's often overlooked and sometimes not practiced.
Right.
You were willing as a man to man up and speak the truth. But what even more powerful, I think, is when he said to you, if God can
forgive you. Yeah, that was huge.
So in a sense, when you were saying that, I was thinking, God used your own son.
Yes.
To minister forgiveness to
me.
Isn't that interesting?
And it took me years to really accept that forgiveness from God. And I remember one day sitting down in my room and I was just crying before God, and I said, God, I really messed up. And how am I going to fix this, right? He said, but I already told you I forgive you. And I'm like, how? When? And then he took me back to the memory of Colanthony. I'm like, oh, so I had to make all these adjustments and like, okay, I got it. Even though he spoke through him to me, you know. And I look back at my life now and thought, you know, it's great having children. It's even greater having my children because they were able. Not only they're there.
It's pretty great. We are pretty awesome.
You know, we get along really well together. We get along really well together. And, you know, the thing is that to see his growth over the years and, you know, how he's... Because I remember when he was 16 years old, and I said, basically at age 13 in the Jewish community, that's when the young man becomes a man. And I said, but I'm going to do it for you at 16. When you're at 16, remember that even though your mom and I are not together, you're like the man of the house, and you have to take the man's role and look out for the rest, even though you're the second born. And it says, remember that. So I tell him, even though your mom is by herself, I'm not there now. You got to look out for your mom and your sister and your younger brother when I'm not there. And I says, you think you can handle it? He said, yeah, I can handle it. So you're sure? He said, yeah. I said, if you have any issues, talk to me.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Right? So even though I would see them like every other day or the same day or every day most of the times, I did until they started doing their own thing, and then it became like every other day, then every other week and that kind of stuff. But at that time, we spent a lot of time together. I spent a lot of time with them. And as I said, we did things together. We did. It's not just I'm there. And, you know, we did things together. It's good to be able to sit with your children and laugh. No, they laugh at me.
And you know, the good thing is, and it continues. And then the beautiful thing is then, Colanthony, because of the relationship you've had with your dad, you're able to pass it on to your children, you know, when your sons and daughters come into your life. And so, Colanthony, thank you so much for speaking with us today. We really appreciate you, and we pray your continued and increased success, that you'll have the good desires of your heart. We believe in you. We really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview, and we just love the honest responses from your heart. And those who listen, I believe they're going to be really blessed by just your life and your dream and your passion, and just some of the great keys you gave us today as far as relationship and personal responsibility and growth and progression and development. So we just pray your continued success. We love you. We appreciate you, and we're in your corner. All right, once you know.
Hey, thank you so much.
Anytime.
I appreciate that. I really do.
And let's do it again sometime.
And just before you go, Colanthony, just in case, because I know you had some friends, and including your brother, who wanted to listen to as well. I've always meant to podcast our broadcasts.
Okay.
Right? But I'm going to make sure it's podcast, this particular one, so exactly, because I think what you just speaking alone as a younger man, just getting married and all that kind of stuff, is going to help a lot of young men out there who want to be married as well. So I'm going to make sure today I'm going to podcast this one.
Fantastic.
Right.
Well, until next time, we'll see you, Colanthony. Thanks again for tuning in.
Hey, no problem. Y'all take care now.
Yeah.
Okay, God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And you too.
Thank you. That's so good. That is so precious. So again, we really appreciate that time that Colanthony L. Humphrey spent with us on Facebook Live on Rebuilding the Black Family.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. You must have felt even more proud, huh? I saw your chest sticking out even more. But no, that was so precious. And again, this was unscripted. Didn't know what his responses were going to be.
I did not want to tell him what some of the answers, because I know if I did,
You mean questions?
The questions. Sorry, some of the questions. I did not want to tell him because I didn't want him to
Okay, I got you.
I wanted to be from his heart, like, you know, and you know, one of the I remember saying to somebody once, they were telling me all these wonderful things about their children and so forth, how great their children were. And how they were with their children. I'm not going to say what gender, but this particular individual. And it so happens that we all met up together in one area. I'm like, oh, you was telling me so much. Your parent was telling me so much about you and blah blah blah. And they looked at me like, really? And I'm like, this is awkward. Which means the parent lied.
I got you.
Right?
Yeah, got you.
So this, if anybody had any doubts how I am with my children, this alone would tell them that, I am who I am. I don't have anything to hide when it comes to my children, because I often tell them, I want you to be better than I was. So this just opens the if anybody was thinking, well, is he really telling the truth? Let's see the truth. Now, son, I'm blowing out the water now.
Well, again, what you are saying is the authenticity,
right,
and of the relationship really came through in listening to Colanthony.
And him more than his Clarendine, the oldest one, and his brother, and Brooklyn, But if he sees me on the street, it doesn't matter where we are. It could be in the middle of downtown Eden Center. A lot of people see me, Dad, and come and give me this big hug and kiss me on both sides of my cheeks. Now the others will be a little timid, right? But him, no. This is my dad. We'll go hug him up and kiss him up. But he is like that. Claremont is now learning. I guess he's coming out of the shyness now. So he knows that when he sees me, he will greet me, right? He'll come and hug me and things like that, right? And even when in the sense of, when we, I often tell him whenever I hang up the phone, I love you, Dad. I know I didn't say it to him there because we're on here. I was going to say it, I'm like, I don't leave it alone. But I would say it to them, and I says, I love you, son. Talk to you later. He says, love you too, Dad. Right? And my daughter Brooklyn would say the same thing. Clarendine is I say I love you, and she's like, pause, and I love you too. Right? And Claremont now, he's love you, son. Love you.
But let me say this. We've only got a couple of minutes. But I want to say this because there's something you've touched on. We're going to pick up on this in our next broadcast, I believe. Because one of the things we talked about a couple of weeks ago, we said the importance of fathers in the life of their children. Then we talked about every child deserves a loving father. We qualified that. But there's something you said, which we would be amiss if we didn't touch on again, is that you communicated in the last few minutes, just before Claremont left,
Colanthony, yes.
Excuse me. Is that you communicated some things that were very critical in relating to the mother of your children. And that was, in order to stay in their life, you had to have some kind of normalcy, some kind of peace.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
Some kind of peace, some kind of reconciliation, had to go on in that relationship so that it could facilitate a healthy relationship with your children. And so that came through loud and clear, but also it showed that you got to a place of being right, and we defined that last week, where you had a right heart towards your children. So you got, I want to be in their lives. I want to help them. I don't want them to be fatherless.
Right.
And then that took time. You were committed to that. You did whatever it took to make sure that they were seeing you, if not every day, every second day, until it was consistent.
Right.
And there was always that presence. Your presence was consistently in their lives.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just want to say that's part. We're going to pick up on some of those things next week about if you're a father, what are those factors you need to have and implement in your life that will make you or enable you to relate to your children or relate to the mother of your children in a way that will help to facilitate a healthy relationship with your children. So we're going to talk a bit about that.
Yeah, if I can say this just before we close, and this is important, this is to any father there, in the early stages of their life, when they were much younger, and later on, their mother and I spoke about that in the fact that she said, my desire or my wish was to take the children away from you because I knew it would hurt you the most. But if I get them away from you so you can't spend time, right? So I said, really? She says, but you fought so hard, there was no way I could win. Right? So I thought to myself, the determination of a father to be in his child's life must be so strong that nothing can overrun that.
That's beautiful.
Right? And when she said that, I realized that, oh, okay, because I told myself, I don't care what you do, what the law says, what the judge says, what whoever says. Nobody is going. For a matter of fact, I told one of the counselors, I says, there's no wild horses, no Canadian army, no American army, no army in the world that will pull me away from my children. And so you have to kill me first. Right? And she looked at me, she says, you dead serious? I says, I'm serious. I'm not dead. I'm serious. Right? And so the thing is, for any father, you cannot tell me that it's the mother's fault. That's why you can't be in in your child's life. If you really desire and want to be, there's nothing stopping you.
Excellent.
It's been proven time and time again. No woman can stop you from being in the life of your child. None. If you're a father, that's the first thing you need to say. I'm going to be in my child's life, and nobody's going to stop me.
I mean,
and you don't. You know, there were times when we were at loggerheads, but I'll say to her, "I'm coming, pick the children up." You don't have to come outside and see me. It's all right. Just send them out. I'm good with that.
You were. I mean, resolved.
Oh yeah, there was nothing stopping me at that
you
point.
wanted to be in the life of children. Now, I need to say this because we're going to keep announcing it for next while. It's the first time I'm announcing it. We're going to have a Man of Honor conference. That's designed to empower men to fulfill their destiny. So that's going to be in June, around the 15th or 16th. We're going to confirm that date by next week. So, men, please note that date in your calendar. It's a Men of Honor conference. Going to have a special guest minister to assist me on that, a Pastor Robert Martin from Michigan will be here to minister with me. You're going to be here with the music area. It's going to be a great time. It's a Friday night and a Saturday morning. You've got to be there. So, men, let us know you're going to be there. Send me a note on Facebook at Foundation for Life Church, or email Carl Lewis at foundationforlife.ca, or give us a call. Let Claremont know you're coming. Let me know. We want to have as many men there to have a tremendous time in the presence of God, because we're aiming to see that men are truly empowered to fulfill their destiny.
We have a lot of women that listen to our show.
Yeah, I need your help.
And we need your help to tell the men in your lives. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's good. I appreciate it. Keep going.
Tell the men that are in your lives. You need to come.
They got to come to that.
They got to come. The next time we show this show, even before then, because I don't know if you've done the flyers yet.
Yeah, we'll get the card by then.
We'll have the flyers. We'll be posting it around so that you can see. So come on out and support us, ladies. And ladies, I guess ladies are invited too.
No, ladies. This is a men only.
The men only. So
we
sorry,
need
ladies.
the women to help us to get the men out. But again, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you. Appreciate you. Thanks for leaving your comments on Facebook. We really appreciate it. Until next time, God's richest and best be yours.
Amen. God bless you. Thank you for joining us today on Rebuilding the Black Family with Pastor Carl Lewis and myself, Colanthony Humphrey. We trust you found this program helpful. Please give us your feedback on our Facebook page, Foundation for Life Church. Also, visit us at foundationforlife.ca, where you will find some free life-building resources. Join us next time for another edition of Rebuilding the Black Family. Until then, build your life and family on the sure foundation of Jesus Christ.